Yeah, hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me at today's program where we'll be looking at the community report. In the last couple of days, the social media have been outwashed with different storylines on insecurity, kidnapping, murder, abduction, a whole lot of. But the latest of it all, which happens to be the trend in what is going on from schools, especially where pupils have been the victim. We'll be looking at some of the headlines in the last couple of months, starting from the months of November, December, and January. I'll be looking at different cases whereby young people, pupils, have been adopted, kidnapped, raped, and killed in the name of raising money by the kidnappers. Having said that, the latest of it all, while we were thinking we were done with the case of Anifa, to start with, let's examine the case of Anifa and how the whole scenario played out. Anifa was killed by the proprietor of the school she's attending, meaning the proprietor of the school happened to have known one or two informations about Anifa, for him to know the financial strength of the parents, for him to have also guessed as at the time which would be most convenient for him to kidnap her. So parents should also watch out for the kind of school they send their children to. They should also watch out for the kind of people surrounding their parents and those who directly or indirectly knows about their financial capacities. To start with, the teacher, whose name is Abdul Malik Tanko, allegedly kidnapped Anifa in the private school located in Kwana Dakata in Nasarawa local government area of Kano State. I think we are all aware of this news. According to the police, the principal suspect, which is Mr. Tanko, confessed to poisoning Anifa with rat poison after he suspected that Anifa has identified him. Now, while that was still trending, a post surfaced on the social media by one Musa Ahmed, and it was shared in a group on Instagram called Hausa Fulani on Instagram. He hinted that the daughter of his friend, who was sent on an errand to buy a recharge card, let me quote him in verbatim. He said, "My friend's daughter, an 8-year-old girl, was kidnapped on her way to buy a recharge card for her father. The abductor abducted an 8-year-old girl for 42 days. The abduction is not even the major issue. They demanded a total sum of 15 million, then the parents had to negotiate before they finally resolved to collect 3 million. The parents of the girl paid the first installment of 2 million out of the 3 million. Later on, it was called to balance up the 1 million, which they did. But meanwhile, the father of the murdered girl, Alhaji Shuaibu Walamu, accused his neighbor, meaning that somebody around living in the neighborhood knows the financial capacity of the family before engaging in such acts, meaning that such people around also knows the sources of income, that okay, if I have to kidnap this girl, it means the father probably can get the money to pay the ransom either from one means or the other. So please, for those listening to us and those watching our channel, be careful of those that surround you. Be careful of the kind of neighbors you have. Also be careful the kind of information you dish out to your loved ones and probably friends. Now, speaking further, the father of the kidnapped girl said the daughter was abducted on the 9th of December 2021, and after making a payment of 2 million, and later on he paid an additional 1 million he has not heard anything from the kidnapper. The only thing they did was to call him and inform him that the daughter has been killed, after which they switched off their phone. That now brings to the question. In this country, there's what is called the BVN, there's what is called the SIM registration, there's what is called the NIN. So I think the police should do the needful and should be more proactive in curbing some of this crime before it gets out of hand. Not until the victim, the young girls or those who have been kidnapped have been killed, the ransom have been taken, then you now say we are swinging into action, we'll start an investigation. No, as when the case is on, the police should do the needful. They should get either through the NIN or through the SIM registration, should talk with network operators so that we can catch and curb this crime, not until when life is lost. Like the case of Anifa, the 5-year-old pupil who was abducted by the proprietor. The father was in constant communication with the kidnappers. In the case of the 12-year-old girl, coincidentally, is also from the northwest. This very case happened in the Kaduna. No, sorry, the girl is 8 years old, happened in Kaduna. While the one of Anifa happened in Kano. Anifa happens to be a 5-year-old girl, while the case of the lady that was kidnapped, the girl is not even a lady, that was kidnapped in Kaduna happened to be 8 years. So it simply means there's a strong target of minors who they feel that the parents have strong, not really strong, or maybe the parents will try within their capacity to find a way and pay the ransom. Moving away from that, not quite long in the month of December, the case of Sylvester Oromoni flooded the social media, and the trend of psychopaths in terms of within pupils or students in secondary school is becoming alarming. Because if you look at the case of Sylvester Oromoni very well, you'll notice that it wasn't because the school they were poor, or maybe because the action perpetrated to Sylvester was as a result of the fact that maybe the pupils or the student, whichever way we want to look at it, the student who perpetrated such heinous crimes are from poor background. It means some of these students would have been engaging in acts of either drug, bullying, intimidating their fellow students. And most parents need to watch out for those kind of kids around their children. And when the child is back from school, they should engage their children in asking them critical questions about how their day went, what was their engagement with other students in school, what the parents should try as much as possible to create this rapport so that their children will be able to tell them the exact thing that's transpired either in school, either in church, in mosque, in social gathering, in event center, or in any place they've been. Just last year, while the case of Sylvester was still on, although the police said they're doing investigation, he died a natural death. Well, I reserve my comment, the police should do the needful. And those in governance, and those in government should do the investigation, and should do the investigation thoroughly. Because there are so many questions surrounding the death of that young boy called Sylvester. While we are still in the mood of Sylvester, mourning Sylvester, the news of the truck in Ojodu Bega running into about 17 students, the local government chairman of Ojodu local government council in person of Odumbaku Shegun came out to say, okay, out of the 17 students that the vehicle, or Molly Grammar School precisely, ran into the truck, 2 died and about 15 sustained different degrees of injuries. And if you listen to the eyewitness account. It was as a result of the traffic, Federal Road Safety or LASMA, whatever we want to call them, pursuing a truck driver. And the truck driver ran into the student that just closed from school. This can only happen in Nigeria. And we need to be more professional. We need to talk to those in authority. The rate at which future leaders are just being killed, being kidnapped in different guises is becoming alarming. A similar scenario happened on the 7th of December, where I think in Ekiti State, a 7-year-old girl called Demilade Fadare was found dead in the house of their neighbor, who happens to be a pastor of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, with the name Ola Jiga Adeton. In Adeton area of Ekiti State. The name of the pastor of the Redeemed Christian Church of God is Ola Jiga. Now, the surprising part of the whole story was that it was later alleged, we don't know how true, that Demilade was sent on an errand by her parents, and along the line, the daughter of Ola Jiga, who is not mentally stable, attacked Demilade, 7-year-old, and along the line, Demilade died, and the body was found. So many stories of young people, majorly girl child, I've been noticing that trend, happen to be the ones that are always at the receiving end. Because if you read the storyline from what happened in most of this, either girl child or boy, male child, whichever one, the point is parents should be more careful so that they will know where the children is going to. If you send your child on errand and the child is not back, please go out immediately. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if it's a distance that is not long, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, make sure that you go and look for the child. Not until when the thing has gotten out of hand, you now start running out scatter. Similar incidents again happened, that was on the 6th of December. The month of November, December, January recorded so many high-profile deaths of pupils, children, either kidnapping, either as a result of psychopathic behavior. And we need to watch it as a nation. In the case of on the 6th of December, which happened in Adebayo Street, Jan Michael, along Badagry Expressway. This one took a different turn, whereby 8 children were found dead in a car, locked and abandoned. The owner of the car is Mr. Saliat Kazim. And if you read the report from the police and so many other people on social media, they said, oh, the children were locked and they died because of it. 8. It's pathetic. I'm just trying to wonder where their mother or their parents were for them to be locked in a car for that duration of hours before it was discovered that they were all dead. Moving away from that, in the same month of in the month of January 7th, 2 children were found dead. They were being crushed by a car. The reckless driver ran into the 2 children of same parents, and they were found dead. Olamide and Damilola Opayemi, 15 and 11 years old, in Ogun State. It is worrisome how some motorists and some drivers just drive without minding the pedestrian, without looking at other road users. It is really worrisome. So, but the worrisome part is the fact that the police, after a while, was said to have released the driver, Mr. Moshudi Badmos Al-Hassan, just barely 2 weeks after the whole scenario. It's not even up to 2 weeks, after a week. And the man left with his car. So I'm trying to imagine the justice system and what is obtainable in this part of the world. But in all, the kidnappers have taken a different turn in abducting pupils. So parents, be careful. Watch your cousins, watch your aunties, watch your loved ones, watch your nephews, your little nephews. If they go out, you send them on errand. And if you're crossing the road, be very mindful of the driver, because some of them take rev, they take hard drug before driving, before coming out on the road to drive. So I encourage everybody to be safe wherever you are, and to also be careful, mind the kind of school your children go to, do a profile check on the school system, the owners of the school, the teachers as well. Thank you very much. I remain Samuel on community report and situation of things happening around us. See you next week, same time, where we'll be looking at a different discussion on policing generally and the healthcare system. Please like the channel and also subscribe to it. You can share to your loved ones and your friends. Thank you.